Do you want to see more of Ben's wee napper? Well, like and subscribe for more JS content.
Hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Before we begin the video today, we have a huge announcement and a huge, thank you to the oldest living Rangers fan who turned 102 recently. His name is Adam Miller, and we want to get it out there that we have huge appreciation for him. So happy belated birthday, big man. Of course, the brilliant guest that we have today is actually the man behind the YouTube channel. This is Blair Gibson. He is the beautiful editor of the channel, and if ever you see the videos that look really good when they're edited, trust me, he is just polishing the turd that is me and making it look good. So yeah, we look very much to having Blair on the channel today. This is amazing. We're looking to make this a more regular thing, me personally at least. Anyway, Blair, will you be joining more regularly?
I hope so.
Great, brilliant. So anyone who wants to join whatsoever,
I can send the link.
A little bit of a discussion about Rangers. Not quite as similar to We Welcome the Chase podcast. They are absolutely amazing. We will never be able to be as good as them. Make sure that you check them out. We Welcome the Chase podcast. Absolutely amazing. Now, going into the things we want to talk about, the first thing is going to be versus Rangers. Now, we came away from the game with 3 points, which is always appreciated. The match ended 2-1. 2 goals coming from Martin Waghorn, and the 1 goal that Hamilton scored was towards the end of the game. Andy Halliday had the ball in the Rangers defence part of the pitch. He took the ball to the corner. He lost the ball as he got caught under his feet, tried to chase it, but Hamilton managed to swing the ball in, and it was a nice little finish to Fotheringham's left-hand side. Now, going back to the goal scorers, Martin Waghorn scored 2, Blair. That's the first time that we've seen him on form for a long time. I think the last time I've seen him play that good was against Queen of the South when he scored a hat-trick. Martin Waghorn is a player that I have to admit that I personally have criticised, because when he wasn't hitting a patch of form, he was doing things like squaring up to kids who called him fat and stuff like this, and that's not going to help you get a place in the team.
Takeaway from a local chip shop, yeah,
I know.
Wasn't a good sign.
He had a chips takeaway. But when things like that happen, you know, if you follow sort of Bill Struth's mantra, you have to be a gentleman both on and off the pitch. You know, that's what it means to be a Ranger, and that was part of the reason why maybe he wasn't being played. He was played in the reserves. Has this game given you some sort of confidence within Waghorn at the moment?
See, when I seen him start, and I actually watched him against Aberdeen. He came on. I think it did. He changed the game at Aberdeen when I was there. It was surprising to see him come on and be that vibrant and that old Waghorn from last season. So Waghorn, brand new player, Warburton spot on to actually make it work. I said to my dad, I was like, you know, he's came back. It's like Warburton knew that he needed time away from the game to obviously get his fitness back. He had like a problem with a few injuries and stuff as well. So yeah, it's good to see him come back with 2 goals.
I completely agree, mate. And for him to score the header that he did, it was literally, for those of you who didn't see the goal, Martin Waghorn came in on the run from the edge of the box. The ball was swung into him. Literally, I'm not lying when I say the edge of the box. He probably wasn't even a foot over that white line.
I think
he headed it. Yeah, he headed it, nodded it. It somehow managed to dip. I've never seen dip like it on a head. It hits the underneath of the bar and spins and goes in. Mad. It was something beautiful. In fact, it was so good that even the likes of Chris Sutton were singing his praise. And that was something very nice to hear, because it's not something you hear often from Chris Sutton. Normally it's delusion and anti-Rangers pandering to the Celtic fans. Oh my God, yeah. Let's not even get into that one. But 3 points, Blair. That's always something that we can take away. But 2-1 against Hamilton, is that good enough, do you think?
I think on the whole, the performance was pretty good. I think the one part that, again, I still feel that the midfield role for Andy Halliday, it's not working out. I just don't feel like he's doing enough of a job.
You say that he's not doing a job in midfield. Previously, I'm not sure if this was quite a well-known fact, but when Andy Halliday was at the likes of Middlesbrough, although he didn't play that much, he preferred the left-back role at the time. Now, he's got the place for it. He's got the defensive attributes. And I think sometimes when he plays, he does drift nearer the defensive part of the defensive midfield instead of actually holding the midfield. He seems to be sweeping around the defence, and it sometimes leads to breaks in play, and the field can be broken down due to this. Would you say that Andy Halliday should play at left back? Because would that mean that Lee Wallace would therefore go to left midfield? But then where would the likes of Barry Mackay play?
Yeah, well, funny in that, actually, because I've quite a good. I love playing Football Manager, of course. I don't like football. But on Football Manager, way back when Andy Halliday was still at Middlesbrough, he must have had like 2, 3, 4 positions on like on his profile. Like he was so versatile.
Same as Lee McCulloch.
Yeah, and you can play him anywhere. I mean, obviously, not every position was his strongest. I think a midfield position was his strongest, but you could still put him in the back four, put him in the top three. I mean, it wouldn't matter with him. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the CDM position is just not for him.
Yeah, no, I do agree. So I was laughing. I just imagined Andy Halliday at the top three. He'd definitely get the ball, lose it, chase all the way back to the defence and be out of breath.
I mean, when obviously Warburton's told him, look, stay in this position or like pick a position. But yeah, way back when, I mean, I don't know if I could get a picture of that up on the screen just now, but yeah, he used to be quite a versatile player. Lee Hodgson's pretty similar as well as Tav.
Oh, Hodgson's quality, man. I think
each side as well.
Let's take a slight diversion from the list here quickly, but I need to very quickly say that personally, I think that our defence is more secure, is more consistent when we have Hodgson at back, because Hodgson does push up, but just not as occasionally as James Tavernier. And I think James Tavernier, when he plays, often he's caught slipping. In fact, sometimes the television camera aims at Mark Warburton, you can see him pulling his arm forward and shouting "Tav, Tav," telling him to get back. Because James Tavernier, we all know that often he goes up, and we've even tried to play him in the right midfield position as well, because he seems to like that position, drifts up there. And you know what? He did. I think he gave our most assists last season with about 18 assists or something like that. And his crosses, when they're on point, they're absolutely deadly. His shots, as we've seen, the free kicks, he can be a complete midfielder. But the thing is, he doesn't seem to know how to stay in a position. When you play at right back, even if you're playing at right wing back, you have to make sure you always track back. If that doesn't happen, you're not fulfilling your role properly. For Hodgson, he always makes sure that he covers his spots. Like, completely and utterly, he for me is the right back that's better. But the right back that's more exciting is James Tavernier. So I'm in a bit of a predicament. Well, I don't really know.
I was watching, I think it was the Hamilton game I was watching, and I was thinking, I minded Morris Edu, who played a similar role, number 2. He was always in the centre of the park, quite versatile in terms of going back, forward. And it sort of reminded me of Edu a little bit in terms of the way he was playing. Is it really an answer for midfield problems? I think it gives us a different option. But I still feel like with Hole playing in the hole behind the striker, really the midfield is not as secure as I'd like it to be. Going back to the whole point of James Tavernier, basically what I was saying is that I feel that, I agree, he's not defensive enough to be an out-and-out right back. That just isn't going to happen. But, I mean, the fact that Warburton's sort of given him a chance in midfield has sort of been like, we can see we've gave you more than enough times out in the field in a match to prove that you're good enough defensively, and he just isn't. Now, whether that means he goes to the right wing, comes central, which he's been doing the last couple of games, and it sort of is working. I'm not sure, but I mean, with Crancher out, and obviously we've not exactly got a lot of options in midfield anyway.
I would go into Crancher being out, etc. But to be honest, that'd leave me.
No, yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to sum up very quickly. When you signed Nico Crancher, he only showed up in big games for teams such as Tottenham, and he was always injured. He was running the risk of both of those.
It was always backup in terms of
actually. Yeah, in fact, I said that wrong. He didn't show up in big games. He always showed up in smaller games. He was lost in the bigger games. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, moving on to Joe Garner. Now, if I'd have asked you about 2 months ago or so, what would you have said if I said, is he worth the 1.8 million? Is he a good player? Should he be in the first team?
From the first time I watched him play against, the only time I can mind of him, the first time Celtic. Actually, is against Celtic when he scored the goal.
Yeah.
Even if I was scoring the goal, I was saying like, he's jumping about, making a nuisance. And that from that match on, that's always just stuck in my head. Now, obviously, more supporters have started to realise, I'm not saying I'm the first person to realise that, but it's became more common knowledge that Joe Garner doesn't just give you goals. It gives you a point, a focus. I mean, that's been well documented as well, that he's been given a more focused, it's been given the Rangers team a more focused point up top. I think that's what's been missing his last couple of games, especially when he's been out. You've noticed the difference, like when Joe do play their games. I think it was Hearts. We were blunt. We were very, we would go forward and it just wouldn't happen. And Joe Garner would come on, it would be like, where have you been all my life? So Joe Garner, we've missed you so much. I think from that match onwards, he's been appreciated. It's shown what he does give to the team. and what he does bring.
Yeah. Have you seen the video of him slide tackling a Christmas tree, Blair?
No, but I feel like now I have to watch that video of him slide tackling.
Yeah, have to watch it if you can. Try and put it in here. It's hilarious. But for me, Joe Garner is, as you said, he's more than just a striker. And at the moment,
is it worth? Going back to the original question, is it worth 1.8 million? Time will tell.
Time will tell. I completely agree.
I think it's a bit too early. We're not even. We're past halfway point yet. I think we are, aren't we? We're close to it. If not, we're past.
We're close, question. If not past.
Good question.
You got me there, mate. You got me there.
Yeah, but So I think is it worth it? Yes, I think he will be, but right now he's getting there.
Yeah, because we wanted him to be. I think what jumped to my mind straight away was Joe Garner, 1.8 million striker. Right, he's our man that's going to bang in all the goals, and that's what we wanted, and that's why I got frustrated at him first. But it turns out he's more than that. He can stop a goal one end. He can make that crucial tackle, even get that yellow card to make sure that play breaks down, momentum stops. Yeah, exactly. But he can also set up the goal, and if not on the occasion score the goal as well. He said himself he's got the Ibrahimovic mantra, not comparing him to Ibra at all. You work hard.
Ibrahimovic compares himself to Jimmy Garner, so.
Yeah, true. So Garner's song, and this is one of the reasons why I love us Rangers fans so much, is we got him at one point to number one on the iTunes list. It is obviously Glad All Over.
We've just repaid him back by the tune. There's probably just like repaid the transfer fee back, so it's fine. We've completely leveled it out. It's all good.
Oh yeah, but so yeah, we managed to get a number one song, which obviously doesn't say we've got Joe Garner. It says I'm glad all over, but you just imagine Joey Garner there instead, and it's all good. But for the fact that a group of fans, Rangers fans, can get a song to number one, best fans in the world, would you agree?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's brilliant. But like, I was on the YouTube Twitter account, and I think I was like scrolling through, and I was like one tweet there about this song, and I was like, oh, it's just this one guy on Twitter that's been, oh, come on lads, let's do this, let's and it's like, mate, just stop. And then it started gaining like obviously more and more attention, and then I think like 3 days in, I was number one in the charts. I was like, right, so that escalated so much quicker than I ever thought it would. that was like completely mad. But
fair play to whoever it was that started that off. The Joe Garner epidemic. Christ. Okay, now moving on to Mark Warburton as a manager. I'm just going to kick this one off. So obviously it's easy to criticise when you're not getting the results, and when you're not getting the results for a team like Rangers, that's what you want primarily. And when you're not changing your tactics, when you're doing like for like subs, when you're keeping the formation the same, it's very easy to criticise a manager. But lately, it seems like he's managed to settle any unrest in the dressing room. It seemed to click.
Yeah.
Players like Barry Mackay now in the past couple of games have been absolutely astounding. That's what we wanted to see again. I mean, maybe that's why I have faith in him, because when he knows he's a good player, he's a good player. Martin Waghorn come back on, scored 2 goals. But where my question used to lie around him was, why can't you get the team to perform? I think we can all agree that individually, Rangers have a team of good players, but when they're not performing as a team, you have to question why. Now they are. It can only be down to the management, surely. So I was never sack Warburton, but I would have been should we have got 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in a row. That would be unacceptable, surely.
Right. So let's go back to he's not actually winning games at this point. So let's go back to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was annoyed. I was frustrated. I was like, you're sitting there going, but just change something. This needs to change. This is not working anymore. Please help us. And then one slight tactical change, whether it be Tav going in up wide at the wing with Hodgson coming in, or Waghorn coming in, or Mackay coming in. I mean, it's not even been the formation change, a tempo change, anything. It stays the same. What it has shown me is, if you change personnel, even just a slight change, it changes the entire shape of the team, and it gives it's probably what's happened. It's probably why we're on such a good run right now. I mean, it's just that one slight change, and I think that's what Rangers fans are quite surprised about. It's not that dramatic formation change that they've been wanting. It's not that a big upheaval of the starting 11. It's just been that slight tinker, like the tinker that Ranieri would do, is what he's called, the tinker man, or what's it, tinker, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, going back to that original question, is about Warburton as a manager. I think that he doesn't panic, and I think that's what Rangers fans need to appreciate.
Sometimes he can seem a little naive in interviews, like when Aberdeen beat us, Hearts beat us 2-0.
But that added to the frustration.
I think it's fair to say we got dominated. The chances were all in our half, not in their half. They managed to, I think it was 40-40 and 20. That's wrong. 40-40 and 20. So 40% in our half, 40 in midfield and 20 in their half. That's domination. And Mark Robinson said, look, the game was even, but they managed to get 2 tapping goals. Sorry, but that comes across as naive. I get he's trying to keep a positive, aura and feeling for the Rangers fans, but sometimes we just, we want to discuss things as they should be. Right, moving on to the Old Firm. New Year's Eve, obviously December 31st. Score predictions.
Anything that ends up with a positive result, either that be a draw or a win.
I'm glad you said that.
An improvement. I mean,
agreed.
I would take it. Whether we win or not, that's another.
It'd be nice to cut down the gap. I mean, as much as we can, because I think it's a well-known fact. It is hideously unlikely that we're going to win the league unless Celtic lose a lot of games in a row or get points deducted, which probably won't happen.
Well, let's not forget, I mean, going back to the years where we used to challenge for the title and stuff, I mean, obviously it's a big gap, but you've seen how quickly it could all change. I mean,
it's true,
I mean, they are running away with it right now, but a couple of results going against them, a couple of results going for us.
Even so, I can't
change the landscape.
Can't quite see it changing that much, though.
No, but I mean, it could go for the massive gap it is right now, all the way down to say 3 to 6 points.
It could do. But even then, it's still 6 points ahead. But I personally would love to see anything that's not a loss. And here's why. We currently have something like a 34-game winning streak at Ibrox. Now, I think if we're being honest with ourselves, if there was a team that was going to end that streak, it would be them. But I think when we have our players at Ibrox with our fans, the noise we create, the fact that they know the pitch, they know each other on that pitch, I can't see us losing to them. And if we do, it'd probably be by a goal margin. But similarly, I could see us winning by a goal margin. I can't see a whitewash of a win on either side. I can't see a domination. What I think we will see is a hard-fought midfield dominating game. And I encourage that. I completely encourage that. But
I still genuinely think that Celtic are so much more stronger in the midfield than we've been for a long time. I think, I mean, going back to the last 2 Old Firm games, it's been, I mean, obviously the one at Parkhead was horrible, but the one what was the last one before that at Parkhead?
Well, there was 1-0, 5-1, and then before that we beat them on penalties.
Yeah. So the 1-0 was the Cup semi-final. That was right, wasn't it? That game at Hampden and the game at Parkhead, both of them were completely dominated in midfield. Sorry, it's all the way about. It was, I'm keeping first. But yeah, I mean, you say we've got a strong midfield battle. I think we'll need to turn up in the midfield first before we can have a battle. I don't think we've turned up midfield the last 2 times I've played them. So, I mean, a strong midfield battle would be a positive.
Yeah. The last time that we dominated the midfield was in the 2-2 draw, which ended us 5-4 or 6-5 on penalties. Andy Halliday had Scott Brown in his back pocket, but Scott Brown's been on a fantastic run of form lately, apart from against England.
Well,
quite funny to see.
I think, again, going back to that game, there was one factor in that. I think Dominic Ball was a major factor in that game.
Well, yes and no. See, when fans demand Dominic Ball to come back, what they forget, he's currently playing for Rotherham. Now Rotherham have they have the worst defence in the whole of the United Kingdom. I think out of all of the games so far, they've managed to get 7 points and have a ridiculous amount of goals against them. Now, he has been starting most of their games, but when he played for us, I don't know what's happened, because he was an absolute gem for us.
It was a different quality of opposition as well.
It's true.
I think on that day, he just gave us that balance.
He did. He gave us his best. The passion got the best of him. And
I think it allowed Andy Halliday to go forward as well. I think that's what was the difference that day. It allowed Andy Halliday free rein to chase Scott Brown down. I think that Andy, since that, not since that game, but a lot of the times it's sort of like since Don Ball's left, Andy Hardy's had to drop back. And he's not.
Also, what you've got to remember is once you're at the top of the mountain, the only way is down. And he was at the very top of his form for that game. I just hope he can get back up there again, which I'm sure he can. And Andy Halliday is a good enough player for Rangers, but he's just not on form at the moment. That's all it is.
Yeah, so any time to do it, please do it on Hogmanay.
Yeah. Oh, please, yeah. Oh, that's how you pronounce it. I've always said it as Hogmanay. That's embarrassing. Okay, yeah. So now the big question: if you rewind to 2012, and you know, I know it's horrible thought. Very sorry, but you've just been sent down all the way to the rock bottom of Scottish football, and someone says to you, Rangers in the first season back in the Scottish Premier League, however long that may be, they'll be second by Christmas. What would you say?
My first question would be, what's the point gap? How far are we behind? I think that's the only way you can really gauge. If someone said to me, you're going to be second at Christmas, how do you, like, my first question is always going to be, well, where are we in terms of points? Like, are we getting demolished? Or are we actually, chasing for the title? I think with taking that out of the equation, I think, I would probably accept it. Would I bite your hand off? We've been used to first for so long. I don't think that really second is like, oh my God, we're second. Like, I prefer to be first. I mean, any Rangers fans prefer to be first because we're used to being first, and I don't think we're that far away. I don't think we're.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But for me personally, if someone said to me, you've just been sent down all these divisions, and first season back you'll be second, I would have been absolutely ecstatic because the way that I saw it this season. It could have been second. Very slim chance it could have been first, but more likely it could have been fourth, fifth, sixth. At the start of the season, we were dropping all the way down the table, down the top half of the table, albeit, but in unfamiliar territory. It was heartbreaking to see because all of these years of being number one, you weren't used to being there. But for me personally, I would have bitten the hand off to be second in your first season back in the Scottish Premier League. It's amazing.
The thing is, we've shown consistency, and that's what Aberdeen and Hearts haven't shown this season. I mean, they're all over the place.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think because we're showing consistency and we're getting these points to the board now, sort of adjusting to the league, I think it's not at all asked for us to put some sort of pressure, and not a lot of pressure on Celtic, but just to make sure that they know we're still here. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, second is second, but I'd like at least, a run of good results to, just say to Celtic, we're still there, we're still fighting, we're still winning games,
That's fair enough. That's pretty much what we're doing now, though, and hopefully we can prove ourselves against them on the big day. But for now, Blair, that's all the time that I've got.